Yo, what do you mean though there's not a single Suicune Giratina in top 8? Yo, what is going on today guys? Sekiro here, and we are back for another update on the meta. So we're going to be looking at the Frog EX tournament, just plus talking about some ranked experience that I've been having, especially yesterday, because there's definitely been some development. So Frog EX is like the second biggest tournament we've had. It's been like a mainstay since like basically the launch of the game. And yeah, I had over 190 players, very close to 200. Pretty good, especially in like a dying period of Pokemon Pocket. That's probably going to be a topic for a different video. Let's just look at the metagame, bro, because it was definitely surprising. So obviously looking at the metagame, the stuff that's not surprising, Suicune on top, Giratina is the second place, and Flareon I feel like has kind of taken over that Guzzlord third spot that we saw a lot of last season in these secluded springs, like, you know, when it first came out. And Charizard is actually number 4th now with a 56% run rate. Guzzlord is below that, and then we have all these other decks, bro, and then we also have the new like Tapu Koko Pikachu decks that are being more played. It's called like the corn dog variant. We will get into that later. And it had a very high win rate at 65%. Obviously only 3 people, but all 3 people did extremely good, making top cut, I'm pretty sure. But we can definitely fact check that when we get into the top cut. You can see here Suicune, yeah, had the most representation. Actually had a negative win rate for once, and obviously if you saw from the intro, not a single one ended up making it into a top 8. And now if we move on to the top cut metagame, we can see here that once again 18 Suicunes did end up making it into the you know, top cut area with a really bad win rate. So I feel like this is the first time a Suicune in like a big tournament like this has not made a top 8, which is actually crazy, you know, because obviously Suicune is still the best deck in the game. Obviously just a bad performance for it overall this tournament. And then we had Giratina Darkrai with an extremely high win rate. We also had Flareon doing really good. We had Charizard, 5 of them ended up making top cut with an insane win rate. Obviously Charizard ended up winning the tournament. And then we had these Greninja Ori decks, which are actually still Suicune. Also guys had a very bad win rate, by the way. You can see here, dude, we had 2 different ones, and you might be thinking this might be the Simon deck that was just Greninja Ori and Giratina. No, it's actually going to be 2 Suicunes, 2 Oris, and 2 Greninjas. We will get into a deck list when we do go to the standings. So this tournament had a top cut of top 64, and just looking at the top 8 standings, yeah, the main thing to note is that there is no Suicune Giratinas like we talked about in the intro, but 3 Charizards actually ended up making top 8, which is something I do not like to see, because I just think Charizard is a deck that, no offense to the people who won, obviously, congrats to Silk24, but Charizard is more of a solitaire deck, because you go in the Charizard, you evolve, you stoke, and you just keep attacking. And yeah, you have to use the support cards like a Lily when you want to use the Lily, or Repel. I just like it when, you know, decks like, even though like Suicune, yeah, is the best deck in the game, I don't mind it being at the top, because at the end of the day, it does take more skill than something like Charizard. And even like Darktina, even though Darktina's been around for like what, 5-6 seasons already, I don't mind it because it is another deck that does take some brain power. But obviously no disrespect to Silk and all the other Charizard players who won. I just personally am not a fan of the deck, but like I said, congrats on winning. We can't take a look at the deck profile. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the exact same one from last time, so we can just click on them. Let's just see the bracket path. Yeah, so you can see here, bro, they literally went undefeated, ran into, I'm assuming, an Oricorio. Yep, 2 Oricorios, auto loss matchup almost. And they had a perfect Darktina bracket, because Charizard has always really been good against Darktina. And yeah, here's the deck list, bro. It's just a 2-1-2 line. It's a 1 Cleffa like the other one. I'm not too sure if it's the exact same list. I'm pretty sure the other one was playing Guzma. And I'm not sure about the cape, but 2 Repels, the Mars, the 2 Lilies, bruh. For the most part, it looks the exact same from my end. So yeah, it's just a Charizard deck, nothing really to talk about. Charizard is going to do its thing. When it needs to use the Guzma to get rid of a Rocky Helmet or a cape, it's going to use the Guzma. If it needs 60 HP, it uses the Lily. It's just a solitaire simulator, bro. Like I said, no disrespect. It's just personally, it's just how the deck is, bro. It's no disrespect, I'm just telling the truth. We can just look at the second place Darktina as well, bro. Shout out to Masa P, which I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. We take a look at their bracket also. Obviously, you know, they did lose to the Charizard, but they also went undefeated until the Charizard, which is something really cool to see. Where they actually ended up beating 2 other Charizards, which Darktina definitely can do if, you know, if they don't see that fast Charizard. Because if you can't set up like the Rocky Helmet, or to set up on 2 attackers before they do evolve, get that stoke up, it is definitely possible to attack them twice, especially with the Darkrai pings into the Cleffa. Yeah, but we can just take a look at the deck list, bro. Darktina does have some variants to it. We can just look at the second one. I don't need to look at all of them. But just out of curiosity, let's see what it looks like. So yeah, it looks like this is going to be only double hand rip. They have the Mars. Actually, no, not double hand rip. I thought I saw silver in here, but this is going to be one of the ones that have Repel and Sabrina. You know, Sabrina can come up, especially in that Charizard matchup now. You know, when they evolve maybe into like a Charmeleon, you want to do something, or just obviously other stuff like Savali or any evolution Pokemon. I think this is just one of those ones that see, yeah, it's just running stuff like Guzma and Red. I think most builds have been cutting out the Guzma, running something like either like a second PCL, something even like a red card, or even like a silver. But I think it's just like a pretty standard, honestly, Darktina list. I can't really say anything special about it. It just looks very average, but obviously average works because Darktina is just Darktina. Many ways to play. It's just a very consistent deck at the end of the day with a lot of flex spots. The most interesting deck out of the top 8 for me is going to be actually the Suicune Oricorio double Oricorio deck, which is by PGX Chocolate. I feel like I've always seen Chocolate, bro, names, especially like doing these like meta reports. That's like just looking at tournament results by myself. So shout out to you, definitely a really good player. And we can see here they also went undefeated until top 4, which is just incredible. They ended up beating, you know, basically just a bunch of Darktinas, a bunch of Suicune, different variants, and they ended up beating the Corn Dog Tapu Koko deck, which it's not surprising, you know, because Oricorio can definitely disrupt Oricorio, and then with the power of the Iridas, it can be annoying for another Oricorio / Irida to actually be able to knock out their Oricorios, especially you combo that with like the Greninja plus the Suicune pings, or like Suicune drawing into the Greninjas and all that stuff. So it kind of makes a lot of sense why like it would be easier for this deck to be able to beat the Tapu Koko Ori. And then obviously they just beat everything, you know, obviously auto win into the Charizard matchup. Because like honestly, bro, if this person was able to beat Masa P, they won the tournament. I'm just gonna be real, bro, because the Charizard is not most likely 99% of the time not beating the Oricorio player, especially running 2 of them. And yeah, so this deck is playing double Oricorio in place of Giratina, because you know there is that one Oricorio, one Giratina build. This is a deck that I am very interested in because I have personally not played it myself, but I've seen other people play it. And for me, it's just not my playstyle, bro. I feel like you have to pilot the deck very weird, or maybe it's just a skill issue on my end. But I just feel like this deck is very weird because you are playing pure water energy. So I mean, most of them, 90% of the time I've seen them play pure water. This person could have been playing, you know, dual depending on the matchup maybe. But it's very weird. It's a very weird playstyle, and I personally cannot play the deck because it's just not how I like to play the game. But you have the 2 Iridas, obviously, and then the 1 Cyrus, the 1 Mars, obviously double or candy. And for their flex slot, I'm assuming that's going to be a flex slot, probably the X speed, because you want to be able to, like, you know, either preserve an energy somewhere when you do need it, because, you know, like maybe if you start Oricorio, want to go attack on a Suicune, bro, you could X speed, or even if you want to like maybe start a Suicune, you want to be able to X speed into the Oricorio and still use something like maybe like a Cyrus, an Irida, or Professor Research Mars, etc. Deck is just very interesting. It's basically a new take on the Samanobi deck, but instead of Giratina having a big attacker, you do have the Suicune for the extra consistency to kind of have like a hybrid between those 2 decks. Like you have a hybrid of Suicune, Greninja, and then Greninja Oricorio. So I think it's like a very cool, interesting deck. And obviously it plays way different than the Giratina one. So the fact that it actually outplays all the Giratina versions is actually pretty incredible by Chocolate. So congrats once again. So in 6th place, we had Crow. Sora ended up making top 8 with the, well, obviously top 8 because it made top 6 with the Jolteon variant that is playing a 1 Leafeon package. We saw this at the Pocket Match tournament on last Sunday. And it's just very interesting. I like the Leafeon tech. It gives you another option. And the 2 red Steer bags, very normal for something like a Flareon deck. The 1 Repel is always nice. Repel is one of the best item cards / cards just in this meta. I think it's a very cool deck because you have so many different options. You have the Flareon engine, you have the Jolteon, and then you have the Leafeon, depending on the scenario and obviously what you have in your hand. And we can just take a look at what they ended up beating. They ended up beating a Giratina, 2 Guzzes, which is kind of surprising because, you know, Guzzler, like, theoretically is supposed to do very good into stuff like the Flareon deck. With the Jolteon, you know, you could definitely nuke them, or even the Leafeon is very good because it's very hard to ground core a Leafeon. You'd have to ground core 3 because, you know, they get 2 energy per turn. So it makes a lot of sense why, like, the Leafeon really helps with that the Guzzlord matchup, which I'm assuming the Leafeon is, like, mainly there for, plus Darktina. I mean, though Flareon already shits on Darktina. Lost to 2 Suicunes, or, like, yeah, 2 Suicune Oricorios. Not surprised. Beat a Charizard, which is kind of interesting, but at the same time, like, Jolteon does have that explosive power. Or, you know, they just perk on the Charizard. Ended up beating a Raichu Tapu Koko, which I definitely want to look at later. Another Tapu and Darktina before losing to Darktina. And yeah, very impressive run, dude. Top 6 with a deck that is like definitely making its way more meta relevant now. It's definitely like a new deck. Was not here for Secluded Springs. It was like the Flareon deck. Jolteon one is really interesting because I feel like on ranked I don't see it that much, but in tournaments it keeps doing top 8s and like top 16s. So it's definitely a good deck. I just feel like maybe it's more of a tournament deck just because you have that best of 3 where like sometimes, or maybe I'm just not high enough in best of 1, but I think it's a cool deck. Right at the end of the day, I love evolutions. I love Flareon. I love Jolteon back in the day. And yeah, congrats once again on the top 6. So now making all the way down to 23rd place, we have Miss Pinguino. Tingueno, probably pronouncing that wrong. Jolteon Pikachu, we gotta take a look at this, bro. Let's see what the deck is. Okay, so this deck is just basically electric box. You have the Zeros, you have the Jolteons, the probably, you know, new Suicunes, you have the one Oricorio because you're playing electric, might as well. And then you have the 150 Pikachu for that high burst damage. Then you have standard stuff like Mars, Red, Guzma, Pokeball, double E-switch, and then I'm assuming one giant cape. Yeah, one giant cape. I like this deck, bro. It's cooking. You have so many ways to be able to go, you know, attack for 2 energy going first, whether that be Pichu or the Zera E-switch onto the Jolteon to try to nuke something. You have the high, you know, game winner Pikachu at the end, plus the one Oricorio to be able to stall in certain matchups. I like it, bro. I think it's cooking. I'm not gonna lie. Let's just take a look at what they beat, because it's like a turbo electric deck. So they ended up going undefeated in like the last 2 rounds. I don't know, I said undefeated, obviously, like, but for the first 4 rounds they ended up winning, beating 2 Suicunes. Makes sense, you know, you are playing Jolteon, which can definitely blow you up. Definitely Dugtrio Skarmory, kind of a meme deck, but they ended up beating another Flareon variant. Probably I'm going to assume that's a Jolteon one. And then they ended up beating another Skarmory, which actually surprisingly made top 64. And lost to Suicune. Obviously, you know, you might be thinking electric deck, well, you should be beating Suicune, and they already beat 2 other ones. Well, they actually lost to another one down here, but this was more the Oricorio version that we were talking about, bro. The two Oricorio Suicune ones. But Suicune's the best deck at the end of the day, dude. If Suicune just pops off and draws good, they will be able to beat any deck in the game. So honestly, unfortunate, lost top in 32, but still making top 32 of a deck that honestly I've never seen before in even Secluded Springs. It's congrats to you, man. It's really cool to sometimes see like these rogue decks or like decks you don't ever see in tournaments just pop off. Next deck I want to mention, bro, is going to be Corndog, which is going to be Tapu Koko Pikachu. And this version of the Tapu Koko Pikachu, because obviously it's a deck that's been around, but this specific variant is called the Corndog list because they were the first one to play it. They are a streamer, bro. You can find them on Twitch, Corndog. And you might be wondering how the fuck did they lose to Charizard playing Oricorio. He didn't wake up, bro. It was like 4 AM the tournament for him in Australia, so he didn't wake up. So it would have actually been a win for him. But let's just take a look at the deck, and they ended up beating everything but that double Oricorio Suicune deck. I'm gonna call him out, bro. All yesterday, this is the only deck I faced in ranked, bro. I was able to have like a 70% win rate. I got like 500 points in 2 days of Guzz. And so this deck, bro, because they always go second to Tapu Koko, and they just steamroll me because I don't land any ground cores. So I actually had to switch up back to Suicune. Not only Tapu Koko, but also Stegan made a post, bro. That'll be later in the video. But yeah, this deck is extremely annoying, dude. 2 Oris, 2 Tapu Kokos. I think Tapu Koko is just way better than Raikou. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think Raikou is good. You have the draw power, obviously, from Raikou. I don't think fucking electric types benefit from drawing cards because everything's a basic. Like, yeah, you can get the supporters fast enough, but Raikou doesn't do anything, dude. It has a 2 retreat cost. It does not enough damage. I don't think it's good. So personally, I think Tapu Koko is way better. I like the fact that he's playing Tapu Koko, has obviously the Pikachu for the burst damage, has 4 hand ripper, has 2 red cards, 2 silver. That's why it's called the Corndog list, because usually they did not play 4 hand rip. Extremely annoying because obviously the deck is not the best deck of the game, so the hand rip is going to be able to, you know, balance it out and make you be able to play against these best decks such as Suicune. And obviously you have the Oricorios for the Darktina. The Guzma to get rid of the Rocky helmets and stuff like Guzz, and obviously Darktina as well. Or just any deck that plays Rocky Helmet. Yeah, this deck is extremely good. It is, or not extremely good, it's a good deck in the meta, especially right now. And a lot of people are playing this on ranked, bro, and it pisses me off, bro. Corndog, bro, you shouldn't have done it, bro. Why did you have to do this to us? But once again, bro, congrats on making top cut. Obviously, you would have made top 32 minimum if you just woke up. So the deck is definitely good. Plus, you know, other people brought the deck did good. But I hate you for making this deck exist in the meta, honestly. Why? All right, so we have this Raichu Tapu Koko deck that also ended up making top cut. Obviously lost right away in top 64, unfortunately, but they ended up just making top cut. Top cut was only 4 wins out of 6, but I still want to look at the deck just because it is interesting. Plus, it is the new promo card, which I kind of thought wasn't that good, to be honest. Obviously, it has like high explosive power, but at the end of the day, if you don't go like second turbocharger, I didn't think it was that good. But we can't take a look. Ended up beating another Tapu deck, Charizard, obviously because you have probably Ori's, I'm assuming. Flareon and a Suicune before he loses to Suicune and Darktina, and then lost to a Flareon. Not surprising. Flareon just one-shots like everything in this deck. Yeah, this is exactly what I thought it was going to look like. Classic electric deck, dude. Only 1 Tapu, which is kind of interesting, but they have the 2 Zeros. No Pichus, actually. I was really expecting a Pichu in here. But they have the Guzma, Geo, Mars, Cyrus, you know, standard stuff, 2 electrical switches, you know, standard stuff for the 2 Zeros. EX speed and the repel. XP is probably there if you have a Pikachu lead. They'd be able to swap in the Tapu, or like if you just have anything and want to swap in the Tapu. And yeah, didn't make top cut. barely made top cut, obviously 4 wins, but it was still cool just to see the Raichu actually be able to make top cut. Maybe people could make a more optimized list, or maybe this list is good enough to actually be able to make those top 64s, top 32s, top 16s, and we will have to just wait and see. Anyways, once again, congrats to I think it was, yeah, Dana Madon, bro. So congrats to you. And yeah, I think that does it for the ranked part of the video. Let's just move on to Twitter, take a look at one deck list, and I'm gonna yap out that, and then we can just end the video there and be on our way. So we have this post by Sigun. If you guys don't know Sigun now, bro, he's one of the best rank grinders, if not one of, he's probably like one, look, like top 3 best rank grinders ever, bro. Japanese player. He's been #1 before, currently #1 in the season, and he's always been high up there, dude, when he does try. And he basically posted this list about decks he was choosing to climb. It was 18 trainer Tapu Koko. This deck I faced like 18 times, bro. The 2 TRGs, bro. I don't know what's with the Japanese players. They love TRG. They love scamming people. They love BMing people. But yeah, 18 trainer Tapu Koko, literally could not play Guzzler because I kept running into this deck, bro. I kept either getting TRG'd, I kept going first, landing no grind cores. This deck is extremely annoying with the double Cyrus, double Geo, bro. So basically, the only meta update for the ranked is people are playing a lot more Tapu Koko, bro, whether it be 18 trainer or it be the corn dog variant that we just looked at. Also, Charizard just won a tournament that had 3 top 8s. I personally didn't see a single Charizard, bro, in like the last 2 days. I'm expecting to see a lot more today because that's how it always works. And yeah, that's just my little rant I wanted to do, bro. Like, I love Sigun, bro, one of the ghosts of the game. Why the fuck did you have to post this, bro? I'm gonna be so real, man. It's so annoying. I was having so much fun on Guzz, man, until this deck came out. Tapu Koko was just a piece of shit. Let me know which deck was your favorite from this video, bro. Peace out and have a lovely day as always.